I just finalized a study that I was doing, and last night it came to me. I say, now, Father, for whatever reason these puppies showed up in my world, because I take everything literal. I don't play with certain things. Everything to me, I will find a message, and sometimes I could go way off the wall, left field, and other times, yeah, I'm right on. But either way it go, I take everything literal, and as God is speaking to me through any and everything. That's just who and what I do. I don't mean to offend anybody. I've learned to keep my revelations to myself unless God tell me to reveal them. And this is a certain instance that I believe God is asking me to share because of the way this unfolded. I just finished. I didn't even get a chance to close my book. But last night I say, Father, I don't know how long the puppies are going to be in my world. I don't know what your purpose is. I don't know what's going on. So it came to my spirit, name them. And what dropped in my spirit just as clear was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel. So this was last night. Now this morning, and it's going on now about, well, it's the afternoon now. It's about 10 minutes after 12. This morning, I said, let me look up these names so I can know what I'm calling in my environment. Because you're creating your world by the words you speak. You manifesting things by what you're speaking. So I wanted to know exactly what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and Daniel mean. I kind of knew what Daniel meant, God is my judge. I knew what the name Daniel meant. And I resolved to call him the boy puppy Danny. And now the other names, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, it just blew my mind what I would have been bringing into my world, because I had never heard this taught in the Christianity in my churches or nothing like that. I've never heard this talk. I've always just heard the names. But when I studied what those names meant, okay, because to give you the background of these three names, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I think it's in Daniel. I'm not sure what book in Daniel, but it's in Daniel. And it's describing the three men that was thrown in the fire furnace or whatever. And when the king looked in, they saw 4 men instead of 3. And the reason they were thrown into the fiery furnace is because they would not bow down. They would not bow down to worship the idol that the king had built. He made a decree, a commandment that everyone should bow down to I'm plugging in my phone. Oh my gosh, and the charger isn't out here. That everyone should bow down to the statue that the king had built. Whenever they heard the trumpets and all whatever go off, that meant everybody had to bow down and worship that idol. And they did not agree to do that. Now, what I'm getting ready to say is that I never even knew about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had been kidnapped. They were kidnapped and taken to Babylon. And so they were captured and taken to Babylon. Yeah, so in other words, all of their names were changed. Their names were changed to Babylonian names, and not their Hebrew names were taken away. And we kind of heard that story before. Yes, so that's the background story. These three young men, they were devout in Hebrew in Judah. They were taken from Judah, and they were devout young men, devoted and committed and loyal and faithful to God. They were, they were very committed to their serving God. And so they were picked. Out of all the other people, these three were picked. Daniel was also abducted, along with Azariah, Hananiah, and Mishael. So Daniel had a name called Belshazzar, and I got to write that down too. And Belshazzar, the name they gave Daniel is lady. And if we can read between the lines to see what all type of names and stereotypes and categories we're placed in, the society, people, or whatever want to change our names. And again, we're creating worlds by the words we speak. And we can see it right before our eyes. Daniel's name was changed to Belshazzar, and which means lady. And they did this stuff on purpose. So now the name Shadrach, that his original name was Hananiah. And I'm going to name one of the puppies Hannah, because it's 3 girls and 1 boy. So the name Hananiah means God has found favor and has been gracious, protects, grace, mercy, and compassion. So that was Hananiah's original name. Favored by God, protected and given grace and mercy and compassion. But that name Hananiah was changed to Shadrach, and that means tender, fearful of God, meaning you scared of God. You act like you can't have fun serving God. Like everything is going to be taken away. Like your fun, happiness, your and also you're scared. We serve God through fear and reverence, not to be afraid like a lightning bolt is going to strike us down. That's not the God I serve. We do get disciplined, but it's for our good. And not to take away our joy. He's to give joy and peace and love and patience, not to take away peace, not to take away joy and happiness. So, and then the name Meshach, that name was given to Mishael. And Mishael, that name was the original name for Shadrach, Meshach. Mishael was the original name, which means who is what God is, like God. So that was beautiful to me to know that Meshach, they changed that name from his original Hebrew name, Mishael, which means who is what God is. That lets us know we are God's. We are made in God's image. We are one with God. We are like God. If God is in us, we are in God. We are one with God. And we're to walk as gods. Who is what God is, like God. We are gods, not the capital G. We all know that. But we're to be as God. We're made in the image of God. So to be able to claim that and not find it robbery is what Jesus said. I don't find it robbery for me to say I'm one with God. I'm God. And then they changed the name to Meshach, which means guest of a king. Oh, we're not guest of no king. We are the king. We are God. We are not guests. We are I am. Yeah, we ain't no guest in this kingdom. We are the kingdom. We are the kings. We are the priests. We are the God. We are gods of the divine creator, the most high Yahweh, the most high God. So yes, that was beautiful to find out. And then Abednego was the last one they changed. His original name was Azariah. And I'm going to name the other puppy Zariah. I can't remember which other name. Oh yes, Zariah. The dogs are going to be named Hannah, Zariah, Michelle, and Danny. And Azariah, his name means God is the help and supporter. You're helped and supported by God. And check out what the name Abednego means. Servant of God of death and pestilence, of the underworld, and Lord of the underworld. Now, I would have been calling in my world, in my home, in my life, no joy, no peace, no happiness by talking about Shadrach and Meshach. I wouldn't have been having the presence and the power of God as God. I'd have been talking about a guest, like I'm some kind of begging. No, I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread. And then Abednego, I'd have been having in my life a servant of a God of death, bringing death and pestilence all around me, Lord of the underworld. No, we're in the world, but we are not in this mess. So yes, let us claim our rightful positions. We are favored by God. We're protected by God. God gives us grace and mercy and compassion. Hananiah and then Michelle. We are one with God. We are gods in this world. God's presence is within us and we walk as gods, as the power of God, as the wisdom of God, as the knowledge of God. And also Azariah. God is our help and our supporter. We know that we are God's. Have a blessed day.